Victor Lupson, you are one of the rising stars at Allsopp Allsopp. Not been here a tremendous amount of time, so I thought it was a fantastic opportunity for you to jump on Taking Care of Business. Firstly, talk about yourself, your story, how you've done since joining Dubai Real Estate and Allsopp Allsopp, a little bit about your personal life and how that's impacted work, because there are many agents out in the marketplace, some new, some that have been here a long time, and the fact that you've come here in, you know, from day dot to, you know, a few years in now where you've done tremendously well, I think it's really important we share with the world what is the secrets of Victor Lipson and how you've got here. So welcome, mate.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Let's jump straight in. Your previous job or in a previous life, you were into what? Not real estate?
No, so I come from a finance background. An oil trader for the last 10 years before I joined Allsopp Allsopp. Left university, went straight into commodities markets, just gave it a go from there. Eventually, being honest, it's sort of, I've done it for so long, it wasn't particularly working out as well as I thought it would.
Right.
It's a very stressful job as well. You know, some years were good, some years were bad, but
how does it? I'm always intrigued because obviously right now, in the stage we are, you know, the oil prices, you know, will hover anywhere between late 60s to mid 70s in terms of dollars. How does it work? I mean, it always intrigues me. I know we're talking about real estate here, but it intrigues me because,
too.
You know, you're not buying, if you're trading oil, you're not physically buying the oil in the middle of the,
No.
Is it an option? How does it work?
So I was a futures and options trader. So one hedges the other, basically.
Okay.
You're
gambling on the price being a certain price at a certain point.
Exactly. It's sort of an educated guess. Like I said, futures and options will hedge against each other.
Yeah.
You try and eliminate as much risk as you can. Okay. But it's still very difficult. I think in the previous 5 to 6 years, it's been very volatile.
Okay.
Every time Donald Trump's in charge, it's a tricky road to sort of navigate.
Volatility, I guess, in that industry, it's not a bad thing either, though.
It's a good thing. Yeah. It's a good thing.
So how have you led into real estate then? Because massive career change. Or what's kind of what led?
Like I said, it wasn't really working out. And I'd heard a few guys come over here, give this a go. Not necessarily off plan, but the ready stuff.
Yeah.
I spoke to a few people, gave them a call, and I thought, do you know what? I think now's the right time. Took the jump, and then 2 years later, still doing it. So it worked out.
So been with 2 years. Your specialty is developer sales, or whether people may know that as off plan. How's it gone?
It's gone well. I mean, when I first got here, it's quite overwhelming. I didn't really know what to expect. You don't necessarily have a specific area or a developer to focus on. We can sell anywhere in the UAE as a team.
Yeah.
We can work with any developer, which is good because there's no bias towards anyone. Certain developers that I really like, they might launch a project and I might think it's slightly overpriced or the location is not right. So I can then push someone onto a different developer, which I do like, in a good location with a good project. So there was so much to learn. First 6 months was tough. I think for me, the first 6 months, I didn't feel comfortable selling investments to people. That I wasn't confident in selling myself because I didn't know the job as such. But then after 6 months, I felt, you know, I've got the hang of this now. I know what I'm doing. I know Dubai pretty well, location wise, developers. I've got really good relationships within the developers as well. And it started to come together.
Tell me about the overwhelmed feeling, because I think that's for anyone listening, watching this, or maybe considering going into real estate, I think that's a very normal thing, right? You're into the job. There's so many things you have to take on board whilst dealing with the challenges of moving to a new country a lot of the time. Tell us how kind of it worked for you.
For me, the transition was okay.
Okay.
It felt like home from home. You walk into this office, and I'm not just saying this because you're here. It does feel like you're at home straight away. Everyone around you, we're all in the same boat, to be honest. We've all done the same thing. We've all taken the risk. We've got on a plane, come over here. We've tried to start a new career. So you feel very comfortable straight away.
Yeah.
The thing that was overwhelming was the market. I mean, I wouldn't say I was a skeptic, but I didn't really believe in the hype as much until I got here. And then it blew me away. Like, I couldn't believe, you know, how much, since I've got here, for example, a 1 bedroom when I first got here, in like an average price, 1 bedroom was $1 million dirhams. Now they're like 1.4, 1.5. So in the last 2 years, 50% rise.
So tell me how you knowing the price had risen so much, and you were originally a skeptic and obviously now a believer, how how do you translate that now to potential clients of the future that Dubai still has value, and you be convinced that it has value? And what sort of things do you look for in a development or a project or an opportunity? Because you did talk about off camera with me, you're not a salesperson or a sales consultant. You see yourself as a consultant rather than a salesperson, which is an interesting take.
Yeah.
And lots of questions in there, but if you can answer that.
No, definitely. So, yeah, I mean, we deal with 90% of the clients I deal with are investors. They're not necessarily end users, although we are seeing more end users this year buy off plan as well.
It's interesting.
Yeah. That's me personally.
Yeah.
I mean, I have sold a couple of villas this year to end users, whereas last year I hadn't.
With long build dates still?
Yeah, with like 3-4 years. Yeah.
Just like an investment hedge where they might look to rent it out, or?
I think, you know, they've bought previously. They've done very well out of the current property they own. They're sitting on, decent capital. A lot of people are refinancing their homes, then buying something off plan.
Yeah.
And, in 3-4 years, they take something brand new in a new development, which is technically going to be better than where they're currently living.
Mm-hmm.
So I have seen that recently a couple of times, but mostly we deal with investors. And I mean, the easiest way to compare it is look at other cities in the world, look at the prices there. Any other major city in the world, price per square foot's double, treble what it is here. I think this place has got so much more scope to go. I think literally just at the start of it.
Wow, big statement.
Yeah, I think so.
So what do you look for when today you're speaking to a client? There's been quite a lot of launches, as there normally are in general. What do you look for in a project? Because there are that many. I think the last count was a new launch every 15, 16 hours. It's wild in Dubai. How do you determine what's right for the people that you deal with?
I think everyone's different. Everyone's got different requirements. Obviously, cash flow is a big thing. So the payment plan has to be perfect for that particular client. The likes of Imar, 80/20. You've got this in JG Phase 2 now with Wassel. That's on an 80. So that doesn't suit everyone.
What do you think to 80/20? But I'm sorry to jump off track here, but what's your view on? Clearly, I know why developers do it, because they have a belief that the project will sell with not a lot of effort. What do you think to that?
I mean, they're still selling out, so it's not an issue to them at all at the moment. Technically with Imar, it's a 4-year build. So if you break it down, it's 20% a year. It doesn't actually look that aggressive over the period of construction. Whereas you could compare it to like a 2-year build somewhere else at 50/50. You're pretty much still paying out the same amount per year as you would with Imar. So it works. They're selling. I think if the market slowed down, they'd obviously change it. And you've seen the days where there was post handovers.
Yeah.
They don't really exist that much anymore.
Yeah. So when you're offering projects, I appreciate cash flow is an important part to a developer and how much money, to a buyer and how much money they can put down. Do you tend to specialize in more waterfront? Is it villa communities? Is it branded? Where do you think your passion is in terms of what it is? Or do you rather look at the project, you look at the person?
Again, tailor it to the person, depending on where what their budget is as well. Budget is a big thing. I know people don't like to be asked, what sort of budget are we looking at, but I can narrow it down so much quicker. So if they do want waterfront, for example, there's still some really good waterfront communities coming. Yeah, obviously you've got Maritime City, Rashid, you've got some marina, Dubai Islands, then you've got the stuff in Abu Dhabi. So lots of opportunity there, but the price per square foot is quite high. If their budget's a little bit less, we can bring them inland a little bit. I mean, depending on whether they want a townhouse, villa, apartment. I mean, I really like there's the avenue, the corridor, between the E311 and the 611. You've got lots of really nice master communities coming with, villas, townhouses and apartments. Yeah. You can get a little bit more bang for buck out this way. But a lot of people will live here. You'll get good tenants. You'll get a lot of end users here because the traffic's better. And I personally like to live in a master community. I don't know about yourself. Yeah. And that's sort of what you get this way, rather than your singular towers such,
Yeah. Tell me about living on the water. Is it typically more of a premium? And how much difference would you see from, let's say, a non-water facing?
Living on the water, I mean, depending on what location you're looking at, but looking at maybe 2,500 dirhams a square foot. Okay. Which is a good price. Yeah. If you was to go to Marina or Palm Jumeirah, it's much higher.
Yeah.
So when selling off plan, I still think there's some good options, even in the marina at the moment. I think for me, Six Senses is still really attractive because of the payment plan.
Okay.
Obviously 30/70 payment plan, you pay 30% today, 70% in 2.5 years time, but you've leveraged, that over the next 2.5 years, 70%. So they've only got 4 beds left at the moment, which start around 10 million, which seems a lot, but there's not many 4 beds, in that location at the moment at 10 million, especially when you can only put down 30%. And in 2.5, 3 years time, you've got a really nice branded building by Six Senses hospitality brand. I think it'll potentially be the best building in the marina when it's finished.
Around Dubai, obviously, there's lots of new developers and some more established ones. Any go-tos you like then, in terms of product and typical finish that you see? I think, you're a bit more warmth to a particular developer that you like.
Yeah, I really like Miras at the moment.
Why?
I like the locations they're launching projects in. I think their finish is great. I like the architecture, design.
Yeah.
D3 design districts, I think that's a really good one to look out for. Obviously, City Walks already had good traction, but there's still more to come.
Yeah.
And then you've got some of their really high stuff down in Jumeirah. That Azura Bay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty special. I really like Aldar as well. They've launched 3 master communities here in Dubai.
Yeah.
But what they've done and what they're doing in Abu Dhabi is seriously impressive.
Yeah.
And Majid Al Futtaim.
Yeah, you can't beat Al Futtaim.
No, I mean, I think you've had a good experience with them so far.
Yes.
So, we've had good success with Gaff Woods recently. They've got a new phase coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Just won two awards there, didn't we? A couple of awards with most property sold with Al Futtaim, Gaff Woods, and also what was the one I bought in? What was the first developer? Gaff was one.
Yeah, so apartments and villas we've done pretty well in.
What I'm intrigued about is, I think if you're in the secondary market or a secondary agent, there's a perception, I think, that the off-plan job is easy. I'd really like you to kind of share what a day of a launch is like, because it's pretty brutal.
It is brutal, but I sort of agree with that as well.
Okay.
Because we don't have the hardship of dealing with, we're not really sellers agents, so there's not much negotiation on the sell side. It's all the buy side. And obviously, peak of summer when it's 50 degrees, we're not walking around villas with D was switched off.
Yeah.
We're going to a nice office, having a coffee, having a presentation.
Yeah. So
from that point of view, it is easier. However, a good project always sells out very quickly, as you know. And the stress is, it can get a little bit absurd.
Give me some of the dark side of it, because these launches I've seen firsthand where we've had to queue throughout the night, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, sleeping on tents to queue up.
Yeah.
We've had issues where there's a token system and there's different color and a different number, and based on that it's random if you get something, and then you could have been queuing for many hours. So again, do you feel that real estate in general is perhaps over glamorized, and that side of it isn't what people tell you what it's all about?
Definitely. Yeah. When I first came here, I didn't expect any of this stuff.
Okay.
I thought it was sort of sit behind your desk, get a phone call, sell a property to someone, that's it. It's nothing like that at all. The launches are absurd, to say the least. Like you said, people camping overnight, and then you still might not get what you want the next day. It is sort of changing for us now. I think we've got our foot in the door with a few of the bigger developers. So I'm not saying we get priority, but sometimes we do. And I think we've got to a stage now where we're selling quite a bit of stock, quite a few units. We get looked after.
We've just seen it more and more now. It was probably kind of leading into my next question of, is there value in a buyer using a broker to buy something off plan because they can go direct? I'll give you an example. This morning is one of our brokers, Mitchell. He's managed to get a unit on Fahid Island. Went there, didn't. There was no availability. A phone call was made, and all of a sudden there was availability. So
Yeah.
You know, the buyer could have a very similar experience where it's not what you know, it's who you know, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. We've obviously got the relationships. Sometimes it can be difficult because a lot of clients do think that going direct is easier and they'll get a cheaper price or they'll get better service.
Which isn't right.
It's not the truth. Yeah.
Right.
We work hard to give the best experience service possible. But you know, you can't win them all. But I would definitely suggest, obviously being biased, use a good broker and you'll be looked after.
Numbers aside, let's say payment plan and the budget aside, what sort of things do you kind of steer people towards in terms of a development or project? Because for me, there would be some non-negotiables. What sort of things?
Yeah, so finished quality is big deal for me. Developer, you know, you want to know that they're going to hand over on time, or at least, you know, not
the track record.
Yeah, the track record's a big thing. Location, obviously, location. That's what they all say. Very important. Yeah, I think it has to be a mix of everything. We do focus a lot on developers with a good track record because we don't want to put our name to something that eventually won't be handed over or there's issues. Because A, it reflects badly on us, and B, we do genuinely want to look after our clients. So we just want the best outcome possible.
What do you think to 1% payment plans and priced developments that there may be, say, incentives to attach to them?
Sometimes it's the carrot on the end of the stick. You know, it's there to sort of entice you in. So I'm not saying all of them. There are some good developers out there giving these sort of payment plans, but 9 times out of 10 for me, it's a bit of a red flag. If a developer's giving something that's maybe too good to be true, there could be an underlying reason for it.
Do you know investment strategies? What sort of things do you kind of guide people towards when they're buying? Because, you know, I do hear a lot, and I see a lot on YouTube, and a lot of it, by the way, not YouTube, but Instagram and the socials, a lot of rubbish where people are advising people to buy something and they can make 20, 30, 40% on their money in X amount of time, whether it's months or, you know, a year. What do you think to that? Does it give a bad reputation to the industry? And what specific strategies do you kind of set out to people to say, look, this is what you need to do. This is where we might be able to exit. Or do you go in always as a long-term view to say, look, everything in real estate should be a long-term and don't try. What do you think firstly to that selling style of, you know, flipping a property from the outset and then?
I think it's getting harder to flip during construction, definitely.
Why is that?
Because there's so much coming into the market from these developers. Like you said, there's a new project launching every 18 hours, whatever it might be. So, plus the prices of everything now sort of catching up. So, I wouldn't say there's a massive difference between ready and off plan at the moment. Off plan just maybe suits someone more because of the cash flow situation, and eventually it'll be brand new, and it would be much easier to rent it out. That's another thing we look at quite often is how easy you know, if we have an investor and he's not looking to flip, he's looking for a good rental yield, how easy will it be to rent this unit out quickly? And obviously what sort of yield he'll get from it.
So when you go into strategies, the most of the conversation is around either long-term or short-term at the end, with a view of seeing this through.
Yeah, I would always say to any client, make sure you have enough cash to see you through to the end, because we just don't know how it's going to play out. Guys that do say, you know, you're going to make 30% in the next year, they have probably seen those times. So some of them I don't blame, because you've been here and you've seen 100% returns in a year sometimes. I don't think it's going to happen again for some time, or maybe ever. But I think a steady, 8 to 12% return per year is realistic.
My personal view is anyone telling you to buy something off plan with a guarantee or a promise that they were able to flip it for X percentage, they're liars. And I'll be very careful about doing your research, what you're buying, what they've sold previously. Have they got a track record? Because for me, I don't think anyone should go into a real estate investment with the view of flipping. The opportunity may arise, and brilliant, you can make a decision when it comes. However, I think everyone buying should always look real estate in general as a long-term view.
Yeah.
And I think most of the money is made, if I'm honest with you, firstly when you buy. So make sure you buy at the right unit, the right view, the right price. But then at the end, at the start and at the end, you buy right. And then at the end, when it's handed and people can see it and there's mortgage buyers, that's when you're more likely to make more money rather than the in-between part at the moment.
Completely agree, yeah, definitely.
So we're seeing a lot of news at the minute, a lot more hype than normal with Abu Dhabi. I've always been fascinated with Abu Dhabi because it seems to be a lot, the calmer older brother of the UAE, a bit like me and Lewis. Tell me about Abu Dhabi because it's had some news recently with Disneyland coming to Abu Dhabi, which will be huge for tourism.
Yeah.
Has that impacted real estate activity there from what you can see?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been looking at Yas Island for a couple of years now, thinking it's a good option for short-term rental. And a project by Aldar, they had stock for some time. As soon as Disney World, it was announced, within 12 hours, it was all sold out.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and we've seen, obviously, the pricing for Farhid's come in quite toppy. We didn't expect that high. Sold out. So it's definitely impacted the whole area. I think short-term rental, I mean, I was speaking about this earlier with you, but client of mine, he owns in Orlando, very close to Disney there. He said he paid $3,000 a square foot for his apartment.
Which is, we're talking nearly 10, 11,000, maybe 12,000 dirhams per square foot.
Yeah. Whereas Farhid that just launched beachfront, amazing views, across turquoise waters, 3,500 dirhams a square foot. So it's still a long way off. And I assume that the impact will be the same. I can't see it being any different, to be honest.
Depends how big it is as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine it being the UAE, it will be pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
A bit more personal around now, really. Something you've had quite a big life event in the last, recent times. Tell me a little bit about what's happened. You've become a dad recently.
Yeah. We had a little girl 8 weeks ago now.
Yeah. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
How's that impacted life and how's it impacted the job? I appreciate obviously sleep's a big thing, but in general, has it changed your view on the job or in life, or does it give you a little bit more of an edge? I don't know.
Not really. I mean, to be honest, I work hard anyway.
Yeah.
And I think a good broker needs to be reachable 24/7 because I've got guys ringing me up at like midnight.
Yeah.
Whether they be in this country or another, I'm always on the phone. And obviously having a baby, your time does get taken up a little bit more, but it hasn't affected me at all.
Yeah.
I mean, we love it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
What an amazing experience we've gone through. I've not done much of the hard work personally. My wife's done most of it, which is amazing. But it's been good.
Trust me, it gets better. It gets better as they get older and you see more, you're able to do more. And if anything, it'd be even more of a reason, mate, to fight and change their lives as you grow up. Tell me a little bit about your childhood. Is there anything specific about what's kind of led you to where you are? Because, from afar, you seem extremely driven. You're always busy, always keeping yourself busy, always very approachable. I see you make time for everyone else. Is there anything in your previous life, whilst you've been younger, like growing up, that's kind of helped you? Is it mum or dad? Anything particular where there's been a work ethic there? And why are you so accommodating for others? Because you seem to be very approachable and happy to share knowledge.
To be honest, I don't really know. I mean, I've always been told to work hard.
Yeah.
Never been able to sort of relax. Always, school, got to get good grades, got to work hard, do the homework. And then obviously came straight out of school, went into university, straight into a job in the city of London. I think that was what probably molded me the most because that's intense.
Yeah.
To be honest, it makes this job seem stress-free.
Yeah.
So I think that helped me cope with this a lot more. But like jobs like that, I was getting the tube into London. It was horrible. Here, get in my car every morning. I drive to work in the sunshine.
Yeah.
I love coming to work.
Yeah.
So I think I enjoy it. That's the main reason why I am so accommodating and I like to work hard because it's not really a job to me. I enjoy it every day, Saturdays, Sundays. It's the same thing.
Right, before we wrap up, some quick fire questions. Best launch you've seen this year or project or product you've seen this year?
I like the Acres by Miraz.
Yep.
I like the Jumeirah Towers, literally just launched last week. Yeah, those two.
Okay, long-term rental or buy and flip?
Long-term rental.
Short-term, long-term rental?
Depends. Short-term, you get better yields.
Ras Al Khaimah, Dubai, Abu Dhabi.
Dubai.
Yeah. Seafront property or villa community?
Villa community. Yeah.
Okay. And lastly, if someone was watching this podcast, they're a real estate buyer looking to get into the off-plan market, what sort of things, let's say $1 million dirhams and 2 million dirhams, what sort of things would you say to start looking at?
Well, $1 million dirhams doesn't get you much anymore, to be honest. You'll be looking at, one-bed studios in good rental areas, but I wouldn't say luxury developments. 2 million dirhams can get you a nice apartment in a master community.
Okay.
And
that's your advice really is stick to a master community where it's being looked after by a developer.
Definitely. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Okay. Which one?
I like the older master communities. Yeah. Verdes is a really good apartment project in Haven, and they'll be bringing apartments soon to Athlon. Yeah, that's a good one to check out.
Okay, amazing. Victor, thank you very much, mate, for your time and taking care of business. Anyone that's looking for any Dubai real estate, specifically developer sales, off-plan advice, he is the man. He's the main man. So reach out to him. I believe you're on socials. What's your handle?
Victor Dubai Real Estate.
There we go, Victor Dubai. You should know that. And drop him a line. We'll leave his details in the links below. Thank you very much, mate. And it's a pleasure working with you today.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Thanks, mate. Oh. Cheers, boys. Thank you.